Tonight, the Real Good Racing League and its chase for the Kyloo Glass Cup makes its way to Virginia to battle it out at a paperclip. Tonight, it's the start of the second half of the season for iRacing's virtual Martinsville Speedway here on Grid Vision. Good evening, everyone. I'm Justin Prince alongside of the booth tonight. Brian Britt, Austin Jarby producing. So we get set to see how drivers handled 200 laps at this very chaotic racetrack. Lots of troubles expected tonight, but for others, it's about keeping consistency and keeping cool when it comes to a track known for, well, lots of contact.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Justin. This is going to be probably a topsy-turvy type of race here today at this flat half-mile racetrack. Of course, track temp kind of high right now, 89 degrees, hotter than I've seen this week, really. But these guys definitely have it in store for them. A lot of, I'd say, trials and tribulations. But then again, maybe not. I mean, just considering I've been hearing this Xfinity car is a lot easier to drive than the NASCAR truck or the next gen on sim. We'll have to wait and see how this kind of all plays out. How will tire wear be impactful against these drivers? But I think we're definitely going to find out for sure. 200 laps here, not too long of a race, but I definitely could see it maybe being extended based on how many cautions we have.
We'll see what happens as the night progresses. Keep in mind, as things have progressed in the point standings, so far, 5 different winners in 6 races, but Lance Ripka has been the king of consistency. 6 top 5 see him as the points leader. He's the only driver with that distinction, let alone with 6 top 10s on the campaign. He's yet to get involved in any incidents, the highest out of those who have started every single race. That sees him 19 points up right now over Eric Beller, Craig Ratliff, Travis Rogers, Thomas Wolfe, the top 5, 39 points that separation. Ripko right now looking very comfortable in the point standings because that consistency. It's going to take a lot of luck for some of the drivers to start to close because of the way Ripka's been consistent throughout this top half of the season.
No, you're 100% correct. I mean, he has just been incredibly consistent, has not really missed a beat. Of course, hasn't won a lot of races. He won one a couple weeks ago, but he's been getting top 3 after top 3 after top 3. I mean, you can always count on him usually to finish in the top 3. So I suspect he's probably going to be right on it here tonight as well. But then again, if somebody can get to his back bumper at Martinsville, then he's not safe. No one is going to be safe here. Just considering this has always been a very, very physical track. When you talk about short track racing, this is what comes to mind. When you talk about short track tempers flaring, this track is at the forefront.
They call it a half mile of mayhem for nothing. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for what's coming up on Grid Vision before we get to tonight's action. This capping off a week of action as we get ready for Grid Vision Superspeedways from Daytona. Some of the entrants looking to see what they can do. See what they can do is the better terminology. At 9:30 p.m. on Monday. Then Kentucky is the host of SSRL Truck Series competition. That starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Then it's a special event Friday evening from California. La Corte Naseca. It is a fun event held by the owners of Thunderclap, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday. And then a double dose of racing on Sunday. Global Racing League from Phoenix in the daytime. And in the evening, it's a home track for some drivers in RGR. It's Kentucky on the docket. We'll see what happens in the later stages tomorrow, or rather, next week.
Yeah, really looking forward to Sunday, too, because 12:30, the Global Racing guys, they're actually going to be crowning their champion. Just a little bit of more information there.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one, to say the very least. It's going to be a fun one tonight, potentially. We'll see how the drivers fare out this evening. In turn, 15 entries for the paperclip. A couple newcomers, either making their second or first career starts in this series and or the season. TJ Rogers, yet again, starts on the pole tonight, though. He looks to zip forward with his second pole in 3 races. Buckshot Ripka starts off in second. Then it's Eric Beller alongside Thomas Wolfe. Wolfe again getting the chance to qualify, albeit with several family friends over as the distraction. George Rincon's in his second start of the season. He starts 5th alongside Jason Spear. Then it's Etta Collins going from the production booth to the racetrack. He starts 7th. He picked up a few tenths in qualifying. Tony Ratliff starts 8th with Joshua Clemens in 9th. He's one of the clean drivers of the season outside of what we've seen from Ripka. And Adam Recker starts off in the 10th position, Brian.
Todd Gilly, of course, going to be starting in 11th place. 12th place is going to have Adam Kulikowski. 13th, George Dibble. 14th, Daniel Blow. And 15th, Michael Everhart. As it looks like everybody is rolling here. And, of course, usually 2 pace laps here at Martinsville. At the Paperclip, that is the name of this track, or kind of the moniker, if you will. And it has very much earned that. As you see, any top-down views of this racetrack very much look like a paperclip. Very narrow corners. One thing I talked about earlier today is the exits of these corners. When you're in the middle of the corner here, it's very hard to see if there is a car stopped on the exit. So keep an eye on that. If we see anyone spin out and someone's exiting the corner, they might not know what they're to expect on the other side.
So in your opinion, who's got the best chance to get this victory today? After all, this is just the second short track race of the season, and I'm pretty sure I just heard some contact. Someone already hit something.
Oh, no. I really like Rogers. TJ Rogers has been incredibly fast here at this point in the season. And, of course, he was off on the strategy last week, but I think speed-wise, he has been just really, really good.
Just about set to go racing from the Paperclip. Glad to have you with us from the half mile of mayhem. Rogers, Ripka on the front row. Green flags out. We're underway for the chase for the Continental Class Cup from Virginia.
Very interesting. Look at that. Top side moving very quickly there. Lance Ripka, Buckshot, making some big moves on the top side. He almost made that pass stick, but it looks like Rogers is going to lead in 3 and 4.
Able to clear by. New race later. The one who starts on the pole, Rogers, leads the first lap. And already single file amongst the top 5. Now, most years it's been a bottom-feeding racetrack, but how would you describe the grooves for tonight? Because in the real world, especially as of late, the middle line's been there when the rubber buildup's been there.
No, I think that's definitely very much true. But I think the big thing we're going to probably see in this Xfinity car is probably guys diamonding the corner, entering a little bit higher, and then kind of exiting a little bit lower to kind of make sure you get the straight, keep that wheel straight when you're exiting. That way you don't have to, have too much wheel in it. Because that's been the problem all week. Is if you have too much wheel, we already got some problems.
It's Eric Beller, Joshua Clemens involved. Sendo Collins also slams in. Caution flags out for the first time tonight. And this one collecting Clemens. Clemens, he was the second highest in points on those, not with an incident all season. That's going to change now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we were in the cockpit camera watching that. So, just unfortunate right there. Just nothing he could really do. Nowhere he could go. It's turned it, the front stretch there turned into a parking lot all of a sudden.
Eric Beller was the cause. And one thing that's common here in turn 4 exit. Loose car. Yeah. Bye-bye.
And I would not be surprised if we look through Eric Beller's cockpit camera that he did not have his wheel straight on exit. That's the thing. You have to have that. You can't have too much wheel in it and get back to the gas. You're asking too much of the tires. Ugh. Some rough hits. I mean, he got hit like 5 times right there.
Let's take a look one more time. It's from Eric Beller's cockpit.
Yeah, I'm thinking if you look at how much wheel he's got into this, yeah. And he might have actually touched the apron as well. So just look at this. Just he gets double teamed. I mean, they were tag teaming him right there.
It almost looked like, right there.
Right
very,
there. Yep.
Just with the sidewalls enough to spin you.
And unfortunate, he is going to go all the way back into 13th. I think he's still running. Fortunately, I think he's still out there. But unfortunately, Zenla Collins, of course, lamped down Joshua Clemens. We saw him, I do believe, take a tow. He's 3 laps down, so now we're down to 13 on the lead lap.
Mandatory repairs for Clemens. Collins was also in that same group, but he was able to get some of the repairs done despite having no front nose. And Beller Spent several seconds just trying to get a TV panel on the car. Already 1 to go for the restart. And the attrition already starting. Rogers and Ripka still in the front row. George Rincon, he's moving though. He wasn't as high up in practice, but he picked up at least another 10th or 2 in qualifying. Now he's up to 3rd, already up 2 spots. Green flag is out. Bottom rowing is rolling. Ripka having trouble through the gears to start off the race tonight. Both starts.
Yeah, that's interesting. I saw Rogers really waited until the last second. I mean, he was well outside of the Geico restart zone before he actually started going. Of course, it is his discretion when he goes. And I think he was trying to catch everybody off guard, and it very much worked. Of course, Ripka able to stay in that second place position, but Rincon has just all of a sudden, he is lit on fire right now with speed as he's up to 3rd on the podium now.
Munsel's also doing well so far. How about Todd Gilly already on 5 spots? Able to avoid that incident. The 19 up from the 11th position. But remember, long run speed going to be critical at a track like this, especially with what we've seen here at the circuit. You burn up those tires, people are not going to be afraid to pounce underneath and make a pass.
And you see Zinla Collins right there with the discount modified right now. I know he spent a lot of time painting that race car too, because I talked to him about being in this league, and he was working on a car and unfortunately, already in his first race, he's got it destroyed essentially. But we're starting to see some battles. I think Adam Recker possibly challenging Todd Gilly at the moment for that 6th place position. I'm seeing Gilly. Gilly is overdriving a little bit. I'm pretty sure he's getting back to the gas a little sooner than he should be. And that's one thing that you can fall into that trap at Martinsville. You think you want to get back to the gas sooner, but really you want to roll the corner a little bit more. And I think he needs to figure that out. And I think that's why Adam Recker is underneath him and making this pass right now. As you see, Gilly goes way high.
Nearly up to the outside wall. Wow. As there goes Dibble with the pass as well. Yeah, I was about to say, there's an art form of if you want to let a car go without getting yourself passed. That was the art form of opening the door and saying, hello, let's make some passes. Dibble nearly missing the bottom in 3 and 4. These drivers right now in this respective group, for those curious, 20.5s. The leaders are running 19.8s.
Yeah, big discrepancy in the lap times here. Of course, TJ Rogers has been turning some incredibly fast laps. He was the fastest driver on the racetrack, as he is has about 7/10 on Buckshot Ripka. Ripka actually took the faster lap that last time by. So we're seeing a kind of a seesaw trading off of the fastest laps there from the top 2.
But keep in mind, Rogers does have the clean space for the time being, not any traffic to deal with for the next while as things separate out. Of note, when some of those battles we talked about, drivers such as the 91 of Thomas Wolfe, could be the interesting part of what happens in the mid-pack tonight, because remember, coming off that very, very strong race, put up a qualifying run, finally he said he got time to qualify, went from 8th to 1st to pick up the win in 31 laps led at Homestead, Miami. But in turn tonight, looking to try and move up from the 8th spot again after having to get repairs done from being involved in the first incident, being sent to the outside wall when Beller spun around.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate. Luckily, the new damage model has allowed the majority of damage to be fixed, so he should be okay. I mean, he's running okay laps right now. I mean, he's one of the fastest cars on the track. I mean, 20.056. Everybody else around him not able to really match that lap. Adam Recker's faster than him at the moment. But for the most part, Thomas Wolfe's definitely showing a lot of pace. And his race last week at Homestead was just nothing but impressive, as he was able to be the best on the long run by far.
But I do have to question, though. When you have distractions like he's claiming that it's so loud that he can't even say anything to the drivers, how distracting can that be? Even with headset or a headphone set as a driver?
Oh, I think that's incredibly distracting. I mean, I know that. I mean, I of course live with a roommate, and when my roommate walks into the living room and I'm racing, it is incredibly distracting. I mean, heck, my cat starts meowing, it distracts me. So having a room full of people that are all chit chatting and talking, it's hard to hit your marks. As we see George Dibble taking a tow.
Dibble toes immediately. Caution flag is out. He was running in the nice spot. He ended up not being able to turn it around after he hit the inside curbing in 3 and 4. Similar to what we've seen with Beller, this time a lot of curb.
Yeah, I don't think he's running anymore, possibly. Did he blow his engine there? Or?
I think, he definitely has a meatball flag. That's how hard he hit.
I saw black smoke, and that's what made me think he blew his engine. And right here, big hit on the inside wall there.
Dibble's already out of the car, so there is a chance his run for now is over. So here's the look on board. Remember, he already has damage from the first incident.
He had so much wheel into it, and of course, it hit that apron or that curbing, and that curbing has always been a dangerous thing to touch here at this racetrack. As we see, some guys have elected to come down pit road. Of course, I see Buckshot Ripka surprisingly has decided to come down, as well as we see Thomas Wolf. I think he's probably getting some damage repaired.
Now, keep in mind, we did run already 20-plus laps. There are 5 sets available in the pits tonight. While it's a one-stopper on gas, there is still a lot to be had when it comes to tire strategy if you get on the right one. Those electing to stay out, Rogers, Spear, and Gilly. Ripka, Rincon, Ratliff. The winners on pit road. Also of note, Zendel Collins is back on the lead lap for now. He was the lucky dog this yellow flag period, Brian.
Yeah, good on him. Hopefully he's able to possibly get down and fix some more of that damage as well, because they're going to have to definitely get the barrel bond out and try to see if they can put his front end back together. But curious about this top 3 staying out. I mean, I know Rogers is definitely capable, very capable race car driver out here in this series, but I think the tires are going to hurt him quite substantially. He's going to be a little bit slower than the rest of the guys. Lucky he does have a buffer, being, of course, Jason Spear and Todd Gilly. Now, Gilly was definitely not as quick as some of these guys that are going to be behind him. So this could be a little bit of an obstacle, and it could even be possibly a minefield here. Possibly if somebody can't get by Gilly, we could see some contact.
Definitely have to see if that becomes that situation. And great news, though, if you're fans of the 49. Guess who found a whole brand new front nose? It doesn't even look like it hit the wall.
How about that?
Well, you did say the new damage model looks like you fixed just about anything. Well, it looks like a brand new car.
It does. I mean, it doesn't look like it had any sort of damage at all. And we get to see that lovely paint scheme again. I tell you, I do like that paint scheme. Zenla, very good at painting race cars. I'll tell you that.
So getting set for the restart. It's going to be an interesting one with tires laying out. Rogers, Spear, Gilly. Fresh tires of Ripka. Rincon, who's already got some damage on both the left and the right front fenders in some of the battles. He's up in 5th. Then it's Tony Ratliff in 6th. Thomas Wolf's up to 7th. Adam Kwiatkowski, who was talking with drivers about brake bias before tonight, he's already up to the 8th position with this caution. All set to get back underway. Rogers so far has led all the laps here from Martinsville. Green, green, green. Back underway. Good launch up on the inside from Rogers. Gilly lets Spear get to work on the outside, as there's the move for the 72 to hold on.
Yeah, good start there for Jason Spear, though. He really kept the 72 honest. I also want to mention, we talked about Tony Ratliff looking really good right here. Greg Ratliff not able to make it here tonight due to internet issues. That's unfortunate. He had a really good run last week. As we see side-by-side, Wolf trying to work his way forward here. I do believe battling with Jorge Rincon right now.
And those fresh tires, they are working on the top. Look at how Wolf is able to stick it a bit. Shorter distance still helping when it comes to Gilly.
TJ Rogers right now still in control, but it looks like Gilly able to hold off the 91. Now I think Wolf's gonna have to try to get underneath him. It's gonna be very difficult to do that. A lot of drivers are not gonna give you that bottom. It looks like Gilly is going to give it a little bit of contact with the wall there for the 19.
Getting a little bit dicey now with some of the drivers on fresh tires now wanting to get the bottom line going again. Adam Recker in the popcorn seat to all this. Gilly just sticking on the concrete barely as there go the fresh tires inside.
A lot of speed from that 11 machine. Adam Recker has definitely been pretty quick. I think he's going to definitely start to challenge Rincon here.
Right now, Recker, keep in mind, was involved in the first caution, hence why all the damage to the back bumper. During the pit stop cycle, he actually sacrificed track position to get 32 seconds damage repair. He didn't really lose spots, though, from it.
That's definitely interesting. Looks like a lot of, I guess some other people had to do some damage as well. What I find really curious is TJ Rogers is running some really, really fast laps at the moment. Even though he's on older tires, it seems like maybe he was been able to cool them under that caution. We'll have to see if that continues. The Wolf last time by, one of the fastest on the track. He's up to 4th now. And I think that's where he qualified, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, you see the pass on Tony Ratliff. Ratliff giving the space in 1 and 2. Up front, though, Ripka getting boxed in behind the dirty air of Jason Spear. And the difference is pretty stark on the braking marks. Spear about a good 20, 30 feet earlier on the brakes compared to what Ripka's more comfortable with. Here he goes, showing the nose. And it looks like the door's open to make the pass. There it is.
Yeah, Spear just let him go right on ahead. Did not seem to really want to battle too much. But that's probably for the best. I mean, this is a track that's all about predicting braking zones. And if you have a different braking zone than somebody that's behind you, it could be a recipe for disaster. But unfortunately, Jason Spear is going to be dropping a lot of spots here if he can't get back down.
Don't be surprised to see this time swing towards Ripka's way as Rincon trying to make the move with the Recker down at the bottom. Oh, with a little bit of a boot forward, Spear gets shoved up. That opens up the door for the 11 as a result. And just like that, 2 of the drivers who stayed out lost caution, 7th and 8th after starting 2nd and 3rd. Also of note, George Dibble back in the race, 15 laps down. That'll add some lap traffic for the leaders to deal with the next moment or so. Ripka, by the way, he's picked up a lot of time since the move. This time he plateaued, but the previous lap he gained 3/10 after making the pass.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be, we're going to see a lot of that here today. I mean, we're going to see guys that are able to turn fast laps and then kind of a slower lap, fast lap and then kind of a slower lap. This is a track that really heats up your tires quite a bit, and I think we're going to see a lot of that. But, of course, Buckshot really starting to run down TJ Rogers. Now, we talked about those guys that fell back to 7th and 8th, Jason Spear and Todd Gilly. They're going to have an extra set of tires left later. Now, if it comes down to possibly some late race cautions, that could give them some sort of an advantage. As we see Recker go way up the racetrack, and he's going to lose the position back to Jason Spear. I'm not sure exactly why Recker went up, but here comes Todd Gilly to the inside.
Now he's getting shuffled back, losing the preferred line. Let's take a look. Almost thought there was contact between these two. Watch the 11th line on the entry.
Yeah, I think he just cooked it entry. He just cooked the entry, just missed his mark. Just got a little aggressive there.
Too aggressive. But here comes Ripka looking to be aggressive to make the move. Already coming off a win in the Truck Series this week. It came to Homestead Miami Speedway, RGR holds. Not even making the pass yet on Rogers. He also has Thomas Wolf with him. Bumper to bumper to bumper.
Yeah, Wolf's actually faster than both of these guys. Last time by, Wolf was the fastest car on the racetrack, and it's just not a surprise. This guy has really been just incredibly consistent when it comes to long-run pace. Would not be surprised to see Wolf come up here and possibly challenge for this win. But I think Ripka is going to challenge first.
See where that comfortability is on the apex speed. Not able to make the move quite yet for the entries. Rogers bouncing off the walls, in fact. Remember, Rogers at this point can go to about lap 100, lap 105 on the gas based on the projections. That's going to be important later on. Ripka can go a little bit further. That time nearly went further through the back bumper of the 72.
My goodness, he sent it straight up to TJ Rogers' back bumper, almost got into it. Buckshot had to brake a little bit harder, locked it up a little bit, almost lost it. That was almost a bad deal.
Well, it's pretty clear, though, that Ripka wants to get this done cleanly. Some people, they're not afraid to use the bump and run. But then again, it's lap 46.
Yeah, it's a little early to be doing that. I think we still got 150 laps before anybody wants to do that.
Well, in this week's C Open SOF race, C Fixed, I should say, well, it was a race where all the real-world NASCAR drivers learned how to give bump and runs and take the bump and runs. For the battle for the race lead, every pass involved a bump and run in that race. That included Parker Retzlaff and a couple others that night. Not so much this night.
Yeah, I mean, these guys always have been clean. I mean, RGR, you got to keep in mind, I mean, the last few races have been completely 100% green. We haven't seen a caution. And this is the first one we've seen in weeks, Justin.
Yeah, we haven't seen too many incidents, really. Multiple incidents, I should say, when you think about it. Outside of tonight since Texas, where there was a two-caution affair there. And then Bristol, of course, was, well, Bristol. And even then was 2 laps. This is actually the season high for yellows so far this year.
And that's just Martinsville. I mean, I loved it. What did you say was a half mile of mayhem? I mean, I've never heard that said, but I think that is very accurate about this racetrack. It brings out the worst in people. I mean, it just makes people's tempers just fly off the handle. I mean, type of reactions to being slighted at this racetrack. And it looks like these guys are a little bit more tame than the rest of the leagues that I call, or the officials by far. But still, I mean, they're gonna have their fair share of some accidents as well. It looks like we're starting to spread out quite a bit, though. So I don't know. And TJ Rogers has somehow kept a hold of this lead, even on the older tires.
Still playing good defense. Ripka not able to find a way to poke around. He's been trying, though. He's better on the apex. A little bit better off, but no place to take the runs yet. Now, you mentioned not hearing about the half-mile mayhem. Not occurred before. Oh, hold on. Wolf forcing a mistake. Ripka had to check up again. Wolf takes the bottom away and takes second.
Wow. That was a really, really well-timed move from Wolf. I just feel like Ripka showed a little bit of weakness because he was having to hold up for checkup for TJ Rogers, and Wolf pounced. He pounced on it. You see right here. Let's take another look back at this. You see Ripka went up the track a little bit of a touch from the 91. Kind of just got him to wiggle up the racetrack even more, and he just pounced on it. You could tell Ripka, Buckshot, was not happy about it.
We still stay green. By the way, the reason you've seen smoke, this is Collins. He nearly spun it around on his own in turn 2. And now he's only a few car lengths in front of the leader. This happened as we were showing the replay for that previous pass. Very lucky this wasn't yellow because he was definitely sideways.
Whoa. Yeah, that could have easily turned into something worse than it was. I mean, he was right in front of Everhart, I do believe. But now he's right in front of the leaders. If he does that again, there could be possibly some implications here for these leaders.
See Collins right now within 5 car lengths for the time being. Drivers trying to communicate over the radio on how these passes are to play out. I was about to say when it comes to moniker, it's actually a recent name from the track president, Clay Campbell, because of incidents like, you know, Clint Boyer wiping out Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, you know, stuff like Dale Jr. painting doors for Tony Stewart in 2014 with Joey Logano and the fun event that was Matt Kenseth taking revenge.
Yeah.
And stuff
Classic.
like that. After all, it's involving the intensity level definitely growing, and that's been the case as of late when it comes to this track.
Well, and also the fact is that it is the race right before the championship, race. So, I mean, it's really, really a lot is on the line when you come to Martinsville, and I think that's what kind of also, just provokes a lot of that. And most of the time when you want to pass, you have to move someone. If they don't get out of your way, you got to get a little physical. Oh, problems for Zenla.
Collins spins it down the racetrack after going up the circuit, trying to let the leaders go. And we're under caution. Wow, in the world.
But luckily, no one got into him. But what? Yeah, he was trying to let everybody go, and I think he just lit up the brakes or something. The car just does not handle above that concrete. When you get up to that asphalt up there, the car just does not like that.
But then there's the second snap around, breaking up our longest run of the race.
Yeah, he had it saved. Then, yeah, right there. Like, why? That is curious. That is very, very curious.
Under caution again. We'll take a break. Regroup from there. You're watching Grid Vision.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Paper Clip, where it's TJ Rogers and Thomas Wolf leading. Justin Brits, Brian Britt with you, with Austin Jarvis Sharp producing. Past the quarterway mark here at the Paper Clip. But all set to get back underway. Right now, still one stopper on gas. Rogers, one tire set more than most of the field. Back underway, and Rogers lights up the tires. Thomas Wolf takes the lead high side, but Rogers makes it back inside.
I almost feel like Rogers is doing this on purpose just to make sure he gets the run on exit for turn 2. Because, I mean, he just, like, Wolf just was not able to maintain that momentum. And Rogers takes the lead easily. But that could have been a disaster there if Rogers had mishandled that.
A disastrous pit sequence, by the way, for Tony Ratliff. He picked up a black flag for speeding on pit exit, but also just picked up a second black flag. So he has to go through the pit lane to serve a drive-through. That puts him down a couple laps as a result. He had been in the top 6.
Yeah, that is just a tragic thing, especially at a track like this where the lap times are so low. I mean, he's going to probably lose definitely a handful of laps. As you see the battle for 5th place, I do believe it's settled out. Adam Recker able to get past Rincon in 28. Of course, Jason Spear running really well right here, up to 4th at the moment.
So up in midst of battles, Adam Kwiatkowski. Danny Blow, you see him back there. Keep in mind, Kwiatkowski up 5 spots. Blow is up 6 so far tonight. Up towards the front, though, Wolf keeping plateaued right now, a couple 100s within Rogers on pace up at the front.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if maybe Wolf's maybe trying to save a little bit of his stuff, but it seems like the two fastest at the moment are is Rogers and Wolf. But then again, that last time by Buckshot actually was faster than both of them. So this is definitely not clear cut on who is the best race car, who has the best race car, I should say. As we now get ready to complete lap number 70, TJ Rogers has led almost every lap here so far tonight.
It's been a dominating night, to say the very least. Wolf is the only other driver to lead a lap, but that's because of the tire spin moment on the last restart. But it almost becomes rhythmatic when it comes to trying to get something done here, because it takes, in my honest opinion, I'm not sure if you noticed this, about 10 laps just to make a pass on one car. And it's almost to where if you don't have the track position, it's very difficult. If you do have the track position, you better be patient to be able to execute on it, or else you won't keep that track position, and you end up going through somebody's back bumper like that nearly just happened there.
Wow, I'm surprised. Wolf closed in a ton in the entry and center, but was not able to maintain that momentum on exit. And that's one thing, these corners are somewhat wide and sweeping. And so you're gonna find speed in the center, but you might sacrifice that speed somewhere else. And most of the time that being exit. Exit, of course, I think is the priority on this racetrack. Then again, I mean, also entry. If you could send it in on somebody and at least get underneath them, you might have a chance. But it is incredibly difficult to pass here at the paperclip. We already got lamp traffic coming into play here in just a moment. I do believe, I think that's Eric Beller in front of these drivers.
And Beller picked up a lot more scrapes, and he is struggling on handling because of all that back end damage. It's all around the TV panel, around the quarter panels. All those quarter panels essentially are crumpled back to where he's got no rear down force right now.
I mean, these cars barely produce rear downforce as it is, so you need all you can get. And looking at his lap times, I mean, 20.4. He is about a half a second, or actually probably more than a half a second slower than the guys that are coming up on his rear end right now.
Have to be very cautious here. There he goes up the top, way up the racetrack and nearly into the marbles yet again. And that almost seems to be a trouble spot today, is just letting the leaders go is almost a risk of wrecking yourself today with the marble buildup.
Well, I mean, think about this. If your car is already ill handling, or, if you have damage, anything that makes that car ill handling, it's going to handle even worse up on that part of the track. I mean, a normal handling car doesn't like going up there. I mean, what do you make? It doesn't make sense to that a destroyed, wrecked race car is going to like it anymore. So it's a wonder he was able to keep that thing pointed straight. And it's just unfortunate, too, because Beller is so fast. I mean, week in and week out, we see him as one of the front runners. But a lot of times it just seems like he's not able to put the whole race together a lot of times. I mean, just inconsistent and just has bad luck, I'd say. Maybe not even inconsistent, just bad luck.
By the way, George Dibble back out of the race car. He's parked for the second time this race. He's getting several damage repairs done. Is already more than 50 down. It's at best finished 14th. As long as things stay the way they are here. Started really spread apart, though. Ripka losing a lot of ground with some of the lap traffic before. Right now, he's the quickest out of the three on the past lap times and out of the average the past 5. But it's Rogers who's been the most consistent long run out of the entire top 5 by up to 2/10 compared to the 5th place car, Adam Recker.
Well, I mean, yeah, he was on older tires than everybody and was still able to hold on to that lead. I think that shows just how valuable track position is as well. And so he's sitting up atop that throne right now. They need him. Wolf and Ripka need him to make a mistake. I think that's the only way they're going to be able to take that lead, or if they get physical and bump him out of the way. And when I say mistake, I mean a mistake on pit road. Keep in mind, they cannot make it to the end on gas here.
But at the same time, I don't know if I've ever seen, except one time, like half a decade ago, where a full green flag cycle worked out at Martinsville. It's once in a blue and silver moon.
It almost happened in the Cup Series race today. Yellow
Caution.
flag is out.
And now it gets interesting on the fuel strat from this one.
I do believe that was Miller.
Yep. Remember that downforce? Remember the lap traffic? Daniel Blow tries to pass by. He tries to go high. Not going to work with this car.
That looks incredibly similar to what happened with Zinla Collins earlier. Beller, of course, immediately takes the tow. The rest of that back bumper came off.
No surprise. Beller back in the pits. Collins, by the way, parked it last time by.
Oh, wow.
And significant damage again for the back end of Beller. Not mandatory, but may be the end of his night here. We'll see if he ends up staying in after the tow. More pit stops, by the way. And an interesting call for now, at least. Todd Gilly, Michael Everhart staying out. But this leads to the conversation about the racetrack. Because at this speedway, the pace speed is 40 miles an hour. Now, that may sound slow, but here's the thing. The pit speed is 35. And if you're in the back half of the field, you risk losing a lap if you elect not to pit with the leaders sometimes. So sometimes you have to come down the second time and risk the track position because you have to come down the second time. And speaking of track position, Rincon just got some. He just took 2.
Whoa. That's really curious. Now, I talked to Austin Edstrom earlier, of course, my co-commentator on the Global Racing Truck Series broadcast, and he said in the truck and in the next gen, 2-tire is a viable strategy. Now, I'm not sure about the Xfinity car, but I'm wondering if Rincon knows something we don't and if this will work. I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, I know, I'm pretty sure right sides wear a lot more than left, so I would assume he took rights only.
So we'll see how this plays out in terms of the track position. Michael Everhart waits for the 3rd time around to come down to the pit lane. He does get a led lap, though. That counts as at least a point. But in turn, here's how things have now cycled. Rincon's now in the lead for the first time. Rogers, Wolf, Ripka, Spear. Then it's Blow, Wrecker, Kwiatkowski, Gilly, and Tony Ratliff is still 2 laps down. So we'll see how this all plays out here because Rincon's been solid on speed in the Goodweiser machine. He hasn't been as good so far since things equalized out, though, and now he's going to have the trouble of eventually 20 laps in. The past track record with this car is when those 2 tires start to be the big difference.
Yeah, that's definitely curious to see how that plays out. Of course, one side is going to be cooler than the other, and that's going to play havoc on the handling of that race car. And I'm wondering, I think this is the big problem here is for TJ Rogers. He has not had to start on this high side here yet tonight. And if he falls into traffic, will he be able to handle that? I mean, he's been in the lead almost the whole race. Looks like we got an EOL penalty for Todd Gilly.
Not sure what the reason may be there. So we'll see what happens this restart. Rincon in control. 110 to go. Green flag is out. Back underway. Great launch for Wolf on the inside. Nowhere to take it. Rogers with the pinch, though. Rincon not able to get the grip down to try and hold on to the lead as Rogers tries to diamond it.
What a great job for Rogers. It's not over yet, though. As you see, Rincon gets tight, but Rogers is able to secure the lead. That was really close. Rincon almost got tight and almost hit.
Trouble. Ripka sent up the racetrack by Spear. Caution flag is out. And here we go again. Spear tried to send it inside. That's enough to spark the caution. And now fuel strategy can come into play for here because during this caution, we reach the green light on gas.
Man. Yeah, Spear just was not as close to the bottom of the track as he could have been when he entered the corner, and unfortunately, Ripka paid the price.
again. Ripka making the move high side. That's the inside of a car.
Yeah, unfortunate there. Ripka's going to be having some damage as well as Spear. Spear had been doing really well as well. You know, had top 5, I think, possibly in his future here tonight.
But as a result of that, he's elected to come down and get the repairs done on the right side because the wall hit. Now it brings the center yellow just prior to the halfway point. As mentioned, the fuel run projected to be up to 105. So now, does anybody say, let's top off and not come in for a little while? After all, Tony Ratliff is the only driver a lap down, and everyone else below him is out.
Yeah, these cautions have definitely been helping out Tony. But I think Ripka's coming down. You see Adam Kulikowski, he's decided to come down. Ripka, of course, came down to get some damage repaired. But still, there's the added bonus that he's going to get some gas in that race car as well, and he'll be able to possibly make it to the end. But everybody else, I think most of these drivers are weighing and risking and gambling that there's going to be another caution. I think that's what they're thinking.
It is the type of racetrack where gambles sometimes work out. Sometimes people find a way to use the chrome horn and take that gamble and throw it to the side. Kulikowski, the only driver to top off this caution period. So just about set for the restart in the next couple laps or so in this one. Remember, the next time out for this series, we talked about it during the upcoming schedule, Kentucky. And keep in mind, several drivers are actually from that respective region, hence why there's a date at Kentucky. In fact, the 1987 cars for this series already went to Kentucky. So it is a series staple already in its early history.
Yeah, Kentucky is a very unique mile and a half. You know, definitely not a clear cut. I'd say a cookie cutter. It's not very cookie cutter-ish. You have to use a little bit of braking, and it takes a little bit of driver skill to get through 3 and 4.
For reference, Kentucky Speedway these days currently not functioning for races. You can actually book a NASCAR racing experience there, though, still. So it's still being maintained. Funnily enough, there's actually a 40% off sale involving experiences. If you want to go to Kentucky Speedway, you have 2 hours. Just so you know.
Hey.
Just about all set to go. TJ Rogers on the inside. Rincon and the Dale Jr. throwback on the outside. Lap 98 takes the green. Back underway, Rogers maintains control. There goes Wolf to the inside for second. Rincon trying to get the squeeze back. Nearly pinched out by Rogers.
A really good start there from Rincon. He's doing really well on those 2 tires, but it looks like he has now lost that speed he had there on the start. One thing about this track is you can maintain that top groove for a couple laps, but it seems like it does not last. As, of course, he is going to fall back behind Wolf. He crosses over Wolf to try to get to the bottom. Not quite able to get there, but what a valiant attempt there. As Adam Recker, look at him working his way up into the top 5, up to 4th. He's going to see if he could possibly pass on the top.
Those 2 tires not looking as comfortable as some may have thought. At least when you immediately lose the bottom. All in Recker nearly sends it up top again. We get alongside as Rincon tries to get into a rhythm. Top 2 have already ran away by almost a full second. That's how quickly Wolf and Rogers have taken off here at the halfway mark here from the paperclip.
Yeah, they're insanely fast. I mean, 19.6s right now for these drivers. Of course, 3rd place, 19.9. So they are 3/10 faster at the moment. Jason Spear, though, back in contention after that accident he had a little bit ago. He's right behind Recker right now.
Just trying to keep it clean for now. Spear in the top 5. One top 5 for him this season. That came back at Vegas. And keep in mind, he was actually a part of the DNF list at the race at Bristol.
Yeah, Spear, you got to admire his determination. I mean, a lot of times he's not the fastest guy, but he is the driver that tries to keep going and turning laps. Oh, Wrecker getting incredibly close to Rincon's back bumper there. Love this camera angle here at this racetrack.
Air hard contact. And again, this comes down to the tire difference. We see the difference in center. Wrecker has the speed. Rincon recognizes. Wrecker slides up, bobbles up, and spins him anyway. And caution flag is out. Well, Rincon definitely was letting him go. Wrecker just couldn't hold the bottom.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see that one. I was getting ready to say, I mean, Rincon, even though he might be slower, he has track position, but I don't think that's the case anymore, unfortunately. As Wrecker, I mean, I thought I would never get the chance to use this, but Wrecker just wrecked somebody.
Well, give him credit. He did allow Rincon the chance to save it and minimize damage.
Yeah.
Right here, you see how he stabs the brake.
Yeah,
He
nothing
tried.
really. He couldn't do anything. I mean, it's just it's not a lot you could do to save it, you know, especially where they were on the racetrack, and just lucky, incredibly lucky that nobody else hit them. I mean, they were both in the center of the racetrack on the exit. I mean, that's not a place to be wrecking.
So in turn, most of the field except for a couple electing to pit this caution period. So the strategy dice once again rolling. Jason Spear now your race leader with this caution over Kwiatkowski and Todd Gilly, your top three. Why don't we take a quick step aside? When we come back, more racing for the Paperclip. You're watching Grid Vision.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Paperclip, where three drivers elect to stay out this caution. They're amongst those who either hit the previous full run or topped off last caution. Back on her way, Kwiatkowski having some troubles through the gears. Rogers goes 3 wide for second.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Kwiatkowski definitely dropped the ball there on that restart, and that provoked a very dangerous situation. But Rogers able to navigate. Definitely shows a lot of courage taking 3 wide in the middle there at Martinsville. That usually does not work.
But in turn, already, he's within 3 car lengths of Jason Spear with that forward move. Thomas Wolf also was able to follow on through. Amongst those on the recovery drive, Ripka is amongst those who are the few who've completed the recovery. For the most part, he's back to fourth already, third on the Freshie Strat. Really, he's back to where he was before the in the incident outside of Jason Spear, who's the leader.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, looking at lap times, though, it looks like he might be struggling a little bit still. Maybe the damage is affecting him. Last time by 20.1, so he was about 3/10, 4/10. Well, never mind. He's back to speed again, so I think that might have just been one lap. As we see challenge for the lead, Rogers up to the lead once again, as it seems like no one can stop TJ Rogers from getting the lead.
Well, that was very quick. That's the difference of about 20-plus laps on tires. Already those electing to roll the dice shuffled as far back as fifth. We mentioned what some drivers may need to do to be able to pass the 72 at this point. The tough part's going to be, though, in the late race. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody rolls the dice if it's a viable enough call to win the race at this point, because it does take a couple laps to make the pass. And all it takes is a couple laps to win the race if it comes to GWCs. There's the move for second.
Yeah, here comes Thomas Wolf around the inside. Looks like he's going to make that pass stick fairly easy. And Wolf going to see what he can do against TJ Rogers. Of course, Wolf earlier in this race had a little bit of damage as well, but it looks like that car back in fairly good running order, very fast. He is, right now, I think second quick on the racetrack, so I definitely think he might have something for Rogers. If he's able to get in front of Rogers, I think Rogers is going to have a tough time passing him. And that's where that gambling comes in, like you were saying earlier. I think that somebody's going to, if it comes down to a late race decision, that might be how you kind of unseat TJ Rogers from this win.
That was some of the discussion involving the 1987's Legends Fall Series that RGR holds. Jeff Taylor picked up a win in part with strategy. Got the win by 4/10. His first career win in that respective series just this week for Ratliff. But right now, looking at Ripka. Looking out things fair up behind. Daniel Blow is in the top 5. Where does this speed come from? He was second to last in final practice.
Well, this is a track that's all about rhythm, and when you turn over 100-something laps, I mean, most of the time you kind of get that rhythm, and I think that's exactly what's been happening here with Daniel Blow. I mean, he's been getting better and better as he goes. As, of course, we see the battle starting to increase or intensify for third place. Buckshot Ripka catching to the rear end of Spear.
Spear opening the door. Ripka looking to dive through it. Already contact between them once this race. This time the move complete, clean, and complete. Now, getting back to Daniel Blow, was looking at the speed charts to look at an explanation on that. Here's the interesting thing. You have drivers like Ripka who can rip a 19.6, a 19.7, then they drop around the average. Right now, part of that seems to be that Blow does not have that hot lap speed. But you know what his times are right now? In the past 10, 19.8, 19.9, 19.9, 20.1, 20 flat, 20 flat, 20 flat, 19.9, 19.9.
Very consistent.
Extremely.
And that might be really good. I mean, especially for long run. I mean, so you don't really overextend and overheat your tires. We got a battle starting to brew back here, I do believe, for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Adam Kulikowski's trying to hold off Tony Ratliff. As, of course, I think Kulikowski might be being held up by Rincon.
Rincon did take an extra few seconds to get some fender work done. That dropped him back a little bit. Kulikowski, remember, stayed out on the fuel top-off strat. Tony Ratliff, he's been towards the back since his black flags put him several laps down. He's not been able to make the passes back yet.
Definitely been a good little long run here. As you see, Kulikowski tries to get back to the rear end of the 28. It's just been so difficult to pass. But here comes the 7 to the inside for 7th place. Not quite able to get there. Well, there he goes. Ooh, really tight on the exit. He has to give all that momentum back. And that's going to open the door for Ratliff to make the pass on the higher side. Wow, look at Ratliff go.
Oh, that was a little bit aggressive on the sin, but it works. Able to squeeze on down as Tony Ratliff now tries to pressurize Rincon. Same move being done on the outside from Adam Brecker. And sometimes you just go through the open door.
Yeah,
Or
I mean, you
do
got to
that
do what you
and
got to do.
Or you dive and drag at the
Oh!
door, and, well, it looks like Tony Ratliff's going to make a call after this one. And likely it's to an ISP provider because Tony Ratliff and his service provider have just wrecked George Rincon.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Adam Kulikowski was involved in it as well, kind of a bystander in this accident. And the leaders almost came up on them. I mean, they were blocking the whole racetrack. As we take a look back at this,
I don't know what else to say. When you disappear in the corner, what else do you expect?
and fortunately for Ratliff, I don't think he got any damage at all out of that. What's interesting is he cited that the reason that Greg Ratliff wasn't here tonight was because of internet issues. I think Tony might be having those same internet issues.
I mean, it gets frustrating when it happens in sim racing because it happens. It's just towards that point where, I'm not going to lie, I've chosen where I've lived because of internet connection.
Yeah, 100%. No, if I go somewhere, I'm like, hey, what's your internet like? I mean, that's a make or break right there.
By the way, here's an interesting situation. Rincon, Rogers, and Spear all just elected a pit during these past 2 pace laps. Thomas, Wolf, Ripka, and the rest of them all stayed out here. So the gambles are really coming into play now that the tire sets are coming in at shorthand numbers. We've seen how quick the faster tires are once they really settle in here. How does this play out now with these drivers hoping they pull Rogers out of the hat?
Yeah, I think this is a really bad idea for TJ Rogers. I really do not understand why he came down. 24 laps is on. Pretty much, these guys have 24 laps on their equipment. This does not make a whole lot of sense. I mean, earlier, whenever he stayed out, he was able to hold off the newer tires. You would think he'd have that in mind, but this is not making a whole lot of sense to me. But, I mean, maybe if everybody else comes down in another 20 laps and he'll get all that track position back, I'm not exactly sure.
So again, under caution for those just tuning in, under 70 laps to go here in RGR competition from the paperclip. Second half of the season now underway. This driver's race to win a custom-made trophy from Kailu Glass. That's the sponsor and company ran through in part by the 19 and Todd Gilly. Here's the thing when it comes to Gilly. He's amongst those who also stayed out. Even though he topped off and stayed out the previous caution, he's up to 4th again. Now here's the tough thing. We've seen how tricky the old tires were before. Now we're talking about an even more stark difference coming from about 2 rows behind him on the restart.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like a lot of drivers have been having issues shifting gears as well. That's been kind of an interesting thing we've been seeing on the restarts that I haven't seen in other cars at this track.
Not too many drivers shifting when it comes to the paperclip this week as well. Outside of that restart zone. Wolf in control this time. Green, green, green. Back underway. Not too much trouble through the gears this time. Rogers wants to go again. He knew he bumps Wrecker. Oh, wow. Wolf takes the lead up in the front. 2 by 2 behind him.
Yeah, Wolf looking incredibly quick. I mean, I think he is probably the second best car here this evening. But here comes TJ Rogers through the field. Now side by side with Todd Gilly for 5th place, and he's going to easily take it.
It's making it look fairly easy. It's not easy. I'll say that much. As there goes Tony Ratliff giving him some breaks. Rogers already back to 4th.
And I was kind of doubting him a little bit. I was like, why did he make this call to go down pit road? But he is just really able to just rotate so well, and he catches up so fast to the back of these race cars. The battle for lead is starting to heat up as well. Ripka's back to the back end of the 91, as well as Daniel Blow. We've been talking about how consistent he is. He's right here as well. Ripka thinking about going underneath the 91, not quite able to get there.
Rogers already up to third, mind you. Rogers not taking any prisoners when it comes to his moves. Now he's looking outside for second.
And he's been one of the only guys that could do it too. Oh, he gets tight, almost hits the wall.
Gilly almost got tight and hit the wall nearly as well. Still holding on to the third spot for now as he looks to try and set things up to get by the points leader.
So difficult to pass, though. I mean, even on newer tires, I think the closer and closer he gets to the front, the harder it's going to be for him to pass. Big sin, though. Here he goes, sign by sign for second.
Can't make it stick, though. Nearly into the wall. He's trying, but he has to get to the bottom, it looks like.
Yeah, but I feel like this is just, he's taking way too many risks right now.
Well, remember, if he doesn't get this lead back, it might not be possible to make the move back on the equal tires, keep in mind. Ripka knows this. Ripka blocks it.
And this is where this could get physical. We're getting to that point, 60 to go, that guys are going to start to get desperate. And I think TJ Rogers really has made himself desperate in a lot of ways by pitting when he did.
Keep in mind, he has to close up a 26-point gap. One of the best ways to do that in this series, win races. After all. Oh, in trouble!
Oh,
Rogers! No. He spins it out of turn 4. No caution. We stay green. And that is not what he needed.
No, not at all. And take a look back at this replay here. And I think he just might have missed his mark. He entered a little bit high. Everything looks fine. Everything looks fine. Oh, little touch on the apron. We've seen that curb. That curbing just unsettled the race car. Time and time again, we've seen that here tonight. And we talked about Thomas Wolfe and Buckshot Ripka needing TJ Rogers to make a mistake in order for them to have a chance to win this race. Well, he just made one. He made a couple, I'd say, by pitting and by hitting that curb.
Keep in mind, Rogers, at the very least, has already clinched the most laps led and at least a lap for leading and for being the pole sitter. But right now, he needs to make up a lot of ground because in addition to, the 40-plus points you get for winning, you end up also getting 5 points additional as said winner. I'm not sure why that'd be the case. That technically also means the same thing. But what I mean by that is, if he wants a chance at the title, he needs to start ripping off wins to get to Ripka.
Yeah. Well, I think also Ripka needs to probably worry about as well Thomas Wolfe, the man who's in the lead right now. Won last week at Homestead. I mean, every time this guy qualifies, it seems like he's winning races. Justin, can he keep this trend going?
Now, keep in mind, Thomas Wolfe still has a lot of points to gain because the first few races obviously didn't get the chance to qualify. And that really hurt his chances in races, as well as the fact in the late races at Las Vegas, for example, made late race pit mistakes. Tonight, though, he's limited the mistakes. Tony Ratliff has made up for several mistakes, and now he's all of a sudden saying, you know what, here comes third. I'll give it up for now.
Yeah, no, Ratliff, of course, just a little bit ago was multiple laps down after incurring, I do believe, a penalty that he had to serve under green. He's now fallen back to fifth, though. So even though he was up at third, it looks like he's starting to fall back. Something's got to be wrong. 20.9 last time by. That is incredibly off the pace here.
Keep in mind, tire difference, a big part of that. Ratliff, Martinsville staying out. Rincon and Spear on fresher tires. Daniel Blow also in the same boat as the 6. That's why they're dropping back so far. Keep in mind the fresh tires. Amongst those, looking to gain a lot of ground. They need to gain 2 seconds. Rogers already looking to make up more ground. He's about 2 seconds back on the net strategy lead for the fresher tires.
Isn't this just crazy? I mean, this guy spun out. A caution did not come out. And then he's still driving his way back up to the top 5. I mean, this guy, you can't hold him back. He's faster than everybody in front of him right now. Of course, he is on a little bit newer tires, but that sideways action that he had probably did, I'd say, equalize him with a lot of the field.
Now, but again, track position is king. And when you don't have the crown, it's hard to be able to get that royalty of track position. These two have it by more than 2.3 seconds because both Rincon and Spear are not chipping away this gap at all on the 91.
Yeah, Spear has been faster than Rincon, though. I mean, I've been very impressed with what Spear's been doing here tonight. I mean, a lot of times I got to say I'm impressed with Spear's consistency a lot of time. And he's definitely determined to at least finish races, but tonight he's actually been quick. So definitely been very impressed with the 83, and he might have a top 5 here if he can keep going the way he's going right now, as we see Daniel Blow trying to catch up to the rear end of Tony Ratliff. But look, don't look now, but here comes Rogers.
Can he make the move now with Daniel Blow? Right now, 4.5 seconds back in the lead. There's the nose shown. There's the dive shown. There's the pass. I will say the rubber's built up on the third line to where it was very, very not rubbered before, where we've seen the spins. Now, it looks like it's taken so much rubber that the cars can stick that line easily.
Yeah, I mean, when you turn 150-plus laps, it's kind of expected that we're going to lay some rubber up there, and it seems like it's definitely aiding these guys in making some moves. As, of course, we see Rogers starting to catch up there. Ratliff just going to pull over and let him go.
Been doing that with the fresh tire drivers, knowing the battles. But was about to say, what can he say? We're lucky the pace car hasn't broke down from the tire
yeah,
buildup.
that's definitely true. I couldn't believe that actually happened. I think that's the first time that I think that's happened that at least I've seen. As Thomas Wolf, though, in control. 7/10 right now on Buckshot Ripka. They have been matching each other step for step with lap times, but, of course, Wolf has quite a big gap. Now up to almost a second. He is definitely very, very consistent. Last time by actually was a 10th faster than Buckshot. So, looks like it is trending towards Wolf being the faster of the two.
Now, in regards to pace cars, because that is a question, and that can pop up at times, it's a rarity. For those wondering, tire buildup with the rubber, should say, on the racetrack, broke a pace car in real-life competition today in stock car racing. Now, the few times that's happened, really, when a pace car caught on fire during speed weeks back in the 2010s, and, of course, the one time an executive drove a pace car during an open wheel event and crashed it into a wall in Detroit.
Oh, wow.
And on the bright side, at least it wasn't stolen like the pace car in Talladega back in the 70s and 80s. Outside of that, it's very hard to break a pace car.
Yeah, I definitely could see that being the case. And, yeah, you're talking about that. I saw the some clips and stuff of that race car, that pace car being stolen at Talladega. And they had to have, like, a roadblock on the racetrack in order to try to stop that driver.
But in turn, pace car not being utilized the past a little bit. Right now, Thomas Wolf looking very comfortable with under 40 laps to go. Rincon, once those in the top 3, the gap is growing. Look at the time difference. Wolf on older tires with the better track position. He's been better in terms of consistency, long run, either way. Ripka not hitting the laps as often. That's why the 91's pulling away so quick.
No, I mean, Wolf has just been insanely impressive. I mean, it just can't really say a bad thing as we look on board with Ripka. And see, of course, he's definitely up on the wheel trying to get as much out of that race car as he possibly can. But also got to keep in mind, Ripka had some major damage earlier where he hit that outside wall. That wall does not give very much. And, of course, he might even have some residual that is holding him back as well. And what's really, I think, unfortunate, and I'm sure Buckshot feels this, feels this way, is that he's been getting a lot of second places. He's only won, I think, one race in the last couple weeks in this series. And he's got to be getting tired of second place. We see Wolf having to deal with lap traffic. Michael Everhart locks it up right in front of him.
Lap traffic for the race leader. Didn't really even lose time from that situation, but that now puts just 10 on the lead lap. Next in line for that, Kwiatkowski. For the most part right now, things, at least for Thomas Wolff, pretty simple. Hope it stays green because it gets tough from there. Daniel Blow nearly hits the wall in 1 and 2. Something's going on with the 17 because he's got mandatory damage all of a sudden.
Oh, no.
I think he's broke the suspension somehow in the car.
Had to have. That is, he had to have hit the wall or something like that.
It would have been at the flag stand, lap 165, apparently. Because we're getting to the point where tire wear is becoming substantial here. And I don't think Daniel Blow knows that he's got a meatball flag, and this is his 3rd lap. So, let's take a look. It'll be Blow, you see that squiggle? Hits the wall.
Yeah, right there.
That's hard enough to break the suspension. This is even harder.
And somehow he's still turning laps even after that.
Well, not for long.
Yeah, of course, he's going to possibly get disqualified if he doesn't come in and serve that. Oh, just got loose back on the throttle here. And I think he was trying to emulate Ross Chastain.
Well, congratulations to Daniel Blow. He's just received the black and white flag with the X on it. He's disqualified by the sim as he did not come in to serve his mandatory damage repairs. The 17's done, and it looks like more troubles. Adam Recker, no caution. This was on his own.
Oh, no. He's now 2 laps down, so this must have been, oh, yep, just locked it up on entry.
Surprised that wasn't a caution. There was a car next to him.
Yeah, definitely surprised as well to have him hit that wall and come to a stop right near another car and no caution flag. As we see Adam Kwiatkowski getting ready to go a lap down, as well as they believe Rincon, the 28, is caught up to Buckshot Ripka. Big gap is formed for the lead.
The gap is already nearly 4 seconds. There's Rincon. Fresher tires. TJ Rogers is there as well already. Ripka has fallen off when it comes to his overall pace. 20.3s, same as the leader, but the average, he keeps bouncing around like a bocce ball. Keeps going to the 5s and 6s.
Yeah, you can see that right now. I mean, Wolff as well just went, hit a 20.6. But I think that might be because he was just dealing with some lap traffic. So definitely, like you said, bouncing around here with the lap times as Roger is going to see if he could possibly take advantage of it to get back up into the top 3. I think tire wear has been significant. Look at this, a second of fall off at Martinsville.
It's actually not as much as I would think, though, because that's only a second of fall off for most of the field, even those on 70-lap old tires here. That's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I know on the sim, the fall-off has not been as great as it has been in real life. Because I know they were falling off quite a bit today in real-life competition. So definitely interesting to see. Definitely not as much fall-off as I'm sure they see in real life. But this is significant, I'd say, compared to what I've seen in other cars, especially in the Open Series as well.
Still looking at how Rogers can play this out, coming up to 22 laps to go. Right now, Wolff slowly being reeled back in, but has a massive buffer. Right now, hoping no troubles. Ripka trying to grow the gap now as Rincon and Rogers both start struggling a little bit. Rogers last time by already scraping the wall. This time trying to send it. A little bit too much send. He lost all the time, got loose.
Yeah, I mean, he has done everything he possibly can to recover the lost time he had from when he hit the apron and lost it. I mean, so him pushing it this hard right now, I wouldn't be surprised that we see another mistake from Rogers. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see as well he probably doesn't have a lot of resources left. Tires are probably pretty well burned up right now, considering he's had to, burn them up trying to get up here.
That's why there's so many issues when it comes to starting the back of this track, unless you get a lot of luck. Rogers trying to set the double diamond. Couldn't angle it right. Now, let's keep in mind that is a viable line for a pass. That's something like drivers like Parker Kligerman will emphasize. And sometimes sets you up to make the move to the bottom out of 2. This time makes it out of 4.
Well, looks like he's got the inside. He's got a preferred line. But you see the 28's able to really keep momentum in the center in that middle groove, and it seems like it's working for him. But I think eventually Rogers is going to make this pass, but he could get tight. We could see some contact, but I think, nope, Rogers going to be almost clear. Well, that 28 just keeps holding right strong on that right rear.
Too strong, though, on the outside through 1 and 2. Squiggle the tires. Now he's wheel hopping. Rogers able to make the pass complete for 3rd. Downside is they lost some time now to Ripka. Upside, Rogers back inside the podium positions once more.
Yeah, you can tell Rincon's not done, though. Rincon is trying his best to get back to the back bumper of Rogers here. He is following right into tire tracks. I bet Rogers is probably looking in his rearview mirror more than he's looking up front.
It's going to take a lot of effort to get up to Ripka. Kowalski for good effort in the wall. Trying to let Ripka go hit the wall at turn 2. Now it's Rogers and Rincon looking to make the same move. And lap traffic not expected to be a factor here in this battle. Most of the field is within half a track of each other. Down to under 15 to go, though. Right now, the gap about almost 5 seconds. And again, Thomas Wolff living up to the expectation of the king of the long run this season. He's back on a good long run pace. And it's worked out like a charm, despite being on older tires than some of the biggest movers behind him. He's on older tires by an offset of about 15 laps here, and it's 15, 20 laps, and it's still working at the same pace as those of the freshies.
I mean, he's definitely we got a problem. TJ Rogers falling to the field. Caution is out.
And he's done it again. This time he brings out the caution. He was running in 3rd. And Rogers, they're pushing so hard to get up front, clips the curb, and bye-bye.
And this time it hits the inside wall as well, so he's probably going to have some possible engine damage. See right there, just barely touched it. I mean, that was a nasty hit to the front end right there. Wouldn't be surprised if as well he's got some suspension damage, but this is going to change everything. This is going to make a shootout to the end. So we talk about Thomas Wolff's long run speed. Well, he's going to have short run speed here now.
Does anybody roll the dice? Right now, only 7 on the lead lap, and it looks like the answer is no, at least on staying out. Lucky dog this time is Kowalski. Does anybody risk a 2-tire call here in the late stages to try and win this race and try and play defense? Doesn't look to be the case.
Well, somebody's gambling. Todd Gillies stayed out.
I don't know if he's going to stay out for the restart itself, but Wolff, he does stay in the net lead for the pit strategy. Of note, TJ Rogers, he only took 2 tires. I think he's trying to get the damage repair done more than anything. We'll see what happens with the 72. But for Gilly, I don't know the call here for the 19. This is a risk. We haven't seen staying out work more than a couple laps win the leader.
Yeah, I would understand this if this was like a green-white checkered or something. I think he's going to have to hope that a caution comes out almost immediately.
He's been amongst those, able to keep it clean. He stayed on the lead lap even with the tire strats. But right now his bed's been made essentially here. Kulikowski able to get on fresh tires as the lucky dog. And Rogers, he might be in the tire situation where he just took 2. We'll see if the 72 has anything left in the tank. But keep in mind, it's Gilly, Wolf, Ripka, Rincon, Spencer, or rather Spear in the top 5. Rogers in 6th with significant damage. Ratliff in 7th. Kulikowski 8th. Michael Everhart is the only car laps down running in 2 laps down. He needs 2 cautions to even have a chance to make a pass if anything happens up front.
Oh, my goodness. Todd Gilly is on 97 lap-old tires right now.
Is this going to even work? He's got enough tires in the pits, but he didn't have the track position.
I just cannot believe that.
He's going to need to hope for some luck. 6 laps to do it.
I don't know if luck's going to carry him that far. I mean, 97 laps. I mean, wow.
Can Todd Gilly get not only his first top 5, but his first win on strategy? Thomas Wolff led 62 laps in a row prior to this yellow flag period. Now he has to battle it out from the high side. Ripka and Rincon behind him. Green, green, green. And Gilly doesn't go. Wolff making the pass high side. And Thomas Wolff takes the lead as they fight for 3rd spot. Ripka makes the pass on Rincon. Spear looks to get around Rincon too as Wolff runs.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people are probably not too happy with that restart for Gilly, but clean enough for Wolff. He went when the green flag came out, so I think he'll be good. And Ripka gets held up by it as Spear up in the podium position. Could he get a podium here today as we come to 4 to go here in a moment?
Rogers, if anything, had moved Rincon up. Right now, Wolff in prime position to run. Rogers, he wants to go 3 wide. He turns the 7. Around goes Gilly. He collects Rincon. Caution flag is out.
Oh.
And now it's into overtime. Kulikowski with a blown motor. 3 wide with 2.5 lanes to do it.
My goodness. Todd Gilly, heavy, heavy damage. See, Gilly was slow up on the top. I don't know what Rogers could have done here. I don't think there was really... I wouldn't really put that on him. I'd say that was just Gilly kind of slow up on the top and nowhere to go. I mean, I think the doors kind of closed. Of course, Kulikowski was on the bottom and saw Rogers in the middle. Just, I really feel like that was on Kulikowski. I feel like he didn't give a whole lot of room to Rogers to be 3 wide.
I almost wonder if he was expecting Rogers to back out for some reason. I know it's late in the race, but that was for the top 5.
Yeah. And TJ Rogers, blown engine, I do believe. Well, not. I mean, I see him still out here on the racetrack.
Todd Gilly with a blown motor at least.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, Rogers, I think, didn't get a whole lot out of that, to be honest with you. He got a somewhat lucky.
Rincon still in the race from that contact, surprisingly, although all the hood pins have been broken off of his car. And the 7's already apologized for the incident. We are in overtime. Only 1 GWC available for this race tonight. Meaning if we get the yellow flag before we take the white, the race ends under yellow. If not, it's a simple race. Through 2 miles, or 2 laps, just over a mile. Wolff, Ripka, Tony Ratliff, Spear, and Rogers, your top 5 now in this situation.
Crazy to see. Look at Spear up in the top 3. He's got to be loving it. He's going to be hoping that he stays up here. Looks like Kulikowski's going to be going down pit road. Probably has significant damage. Doesn't want to be in the way here.
He does have the meatball flag, so had to come down, or else he would have been disqualified on the restart. 2 to go on the pace laps. So this has turned a bit more wilder than some may have expected. So now how do you play this to try and get the win? Wolff has led 69 laps. Ripka yet to lead tonight, actually. You know, the last time Ripka led laps, Las Vegas, he got 2 that night. It's been a while since he's been in the lead.
Yeah, and I bet he knows that. I bet he's very, very much aware of that fact. And I'm sure he wants to lead the most important lap. That's for sure, this last one. And he's going to really have to nail, I think, this restart. Wolf, I don't think Wolf's going to give him too many opportunities here. Pace car lights are out. Time to get it back going once again. What does Ripka have for Wolf here?
We're about to find out. 2 laps to decide from the paperclip to RGR overtime. Again, 6 cars with a chance to win it. Who gets it done here tonight? Wolf in control, keeping it steady at 40+ miles an hour. To the restart zone, green flag is out. Over a mile to go for Martinsville. Spear looking inside, and there goes Ripka. Contact for Wolf, and that's the race. Thomas Wolf will take the caution flag to win his 2nd straight.
My goodness, that was an odd crash.
That's not the way you want to end it. Watch the 6.
Yep. Tony Ratliff just kind of blew the corner right into the back of the 52. That's unfortunate for Ripka. Ran top 3 all day.
His first non-top 5 all season. This will trigger the checker flag for the leaders. So the race win will go to Thomas Wolf. His 2nd consecutive. Becomes just the 2nd multi-race winner of the season, the other being Zach Roethlisberger, who hasn't started since those 2 races won early in the season. So Wolf, in turn, championship favorite with how things are playing out. Or at least that to shake up the fight between him and Ripka after Ripka's points tumble. Wolf now amongst the top 2. You can argue for the point standings after this one, if not top 3.
No, it's definitely been a great day for Thomas Wolf ever since he started qualifying. And he's going to burn it down as he takes that Barbie machine to victory lane for the 2nd week in a row.
The back row Bandit Racing Machine gets it done tonight here in RGR competition. Brought to you by Kylo Glass. Jason Spear comes away 2nd under the yellow. Tony Ratliff unofficially in 3rd. TJ Rogers and George Rincon, followed by Ripka, the only drivers in the lead lap. Amongst those laps down, Michael Everhart, Adam Kwiatkowski, Lomaton Gilly, Adam Recker. He finished 10 down, or rather in 10, 34 laps down after a crash under green.
Of course, Eric Beller, I do believe, finishing in 11th place. Zenla Collins in 12th. George Dibble, 13th. Joshua Clemens, of course, was involved in a crash way early. And I think Daniel Blow, of course, was disqualified. Does that put him last, correct?
Yes. Well, no, it actually put him 11th because it wasn't a race-controlled DQ. It was a DQ due to incident. Let's look at the unofficial race results after an interesting night here from the paperclip. Take a quick step aside. Post-race coverage coming up. You're watching Grid Fishing for coverage of the Real Good Racing League. Welcome back to Grid Vision for post-race coverage of RGR and its Fall Premier Series. Here from the Paperclip, just Prince Brian Britt, Austin Jabri with you. Let's talk with our top three finishers tonight. First things first, unofficially, Tony Ratliff in the third spot. Tony, you triggered the caution to end the race. What happened?
Well, went into the turn down there too wide on the top, and I don't know if Lance got two or I just don't know. I was so busy with everything going on in the race, hard to keep up with my own stuff. But just wasn't expecting. I really expected him to send it up there, and just misjudged it, and kind of ruined my race actually.
Well, it was eventful when it seemed because you're involved in the early incidents we talked about that put you a couple laps down. And then at one point, I'm not sure if you realize this, your car disappeared and you ended up spinning somebody. So it's been an eventful night for you. How would you describe that experience from the cockpit in the Lost Ridge Racing machine?
Well, it was very intense, and it just really put me on edge. I was kind of following George there for a long time, and finally got a run on him, and then my connection kind of blinked on me a couple times, and I'm pretty sure that's kind of what caused that contact. But nevertheless, I apologized to him and just feel horrible about it. I try to run these races and not touch anybody, but just got caught up in that one as well.
So on a more positive note, the next race is at Kentucky. I'm not sure what your thoughts are on Kentucky, especially since I believe it's the modern day Kentucky. Your thoughts on Kentucky?
I like Kentucky, actually. It's a fast little track, plenty of room to race. I like the old Kentucky as well. Ran good in the 87s and at that track, so looking forward to that track.
Any shout you like to give for tonight?
Well, the only shout out I want to give out is apologize to a couple of guys that I caused problems. So that'll have to do, I guess. Public apology.
Well, Tony, thank you once again for the time.
Thank you, sir.
It's Tony Ratliff cut away in the third spot tonight. Second spot, Jason Spear sneaks through the contact late and gets himself to second. He's with Brian.
Jason, fantastic performance here tonight. I think this is your best performance all season long, and might even be your best performance in RGR history. Walk us through how you're feeling, man. I mean, it seemed like you just had a pretty fast race car tonight.
Yeah, it was pretty fast. I was just trying to get to the end and take care of my tires. Seemed like I was burning the fronts up more than I wanted to, really. But yeah, this is a good finish in Xfinity race for me. I've been close, but just can't quite get to the top. But yeah, we had a pretty good night tonight. I'm glad to finish P2.
What was different about tonight, about Martinsville? It seems like, other racetracks, you definitely are consistent, but don't seem to have as much speed as some of the other guys. But it seemed tonight was a little bit different. It seemed like you did have around the same speed as a lot of the other drivers that are, known for being running up in the top three.
Yeah, I'm one, always when I run or race, I'm one to save my stuff a little bit all the way to the end. And, we run caution free here until tonight, really, but I run caution free, and you can't save too much because the guys up front, they're fast. They've got it figured out to where they're not having to save as much and hold on to the top spots, when generally me, I save and end up being there at the end. But it's just not happening with this last build or two. Quite frankly, just need to be faster to be able to contend with these guys, because they're some of the best.
That they are, and of course, this has got to be a big confidence builder. How are you feeling about Kentucky coming up next week?
I like Kentucky. It's it can be pretty tough. Turn 3 and 4 can be a tough place to get around to. I would hope that that's a place where you need to save a little bit to be at the end. But it's, you know, you just got to be able to run hard the whole time and save to be there at the end with some of these guys.
Well, we definitely look forward to seeing what you can do. You know, I know you're, like you said, very good at saving, very consistent on the longer runs. Jason, great job. Who can we shout out after this second place finish for you?
Man, I got to shout out this league. We've all been in a few leagues that it can be a battle just to keep your car clean, but these guys are top notch. I don't know, until tonight, I don't know how many races we've run caution free. And once the Xfinity started, but just hats off to all the guys. We got a good group here, good owner. I really appreciate your broadcast because it's nice to go back and watch it, and I got a few people that like to watch it myself, and thanks to all my competitors.
All right, Jason. Well, this is definitely going to be a good one for your friends and family to go back and watch, considering you were up in second and it had quite a bit of screen time. So, but we'll see you next week at Kentucky. You have a great night.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Once again, it's Jason Spear in second spot tonight. First spot for the second consecutive week, Thomas Wolf, and I'm not sure if the family friends are there or not. So, Thomas, how was the friends party as you took your car to victory lane while surrounded by family friends, apparently?
Oh, they were fine. They were watching some movies, so they were a little loud for a little bit, but I was fine. I was in the zone.
Oh. Well, I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing that they weren't watching it alone. But in turn tonight, how would you describe you in terms of the strategy roulette, essentially, and coming out on the right strategy and being quicker than those who pit on 25 lap pressure tires?
Yeah, I mean, like, I felt like every time a caution came out, I wanted to go get tires because I didn't know if it was going to be the long RGR green flag stint like we're accustomed to. But I just kept going through my tires, and then a caution would come out, and then I would get a new set. So I was actually on my last set of tires there at the end, so it worked out whatever strategy I put together.
That's actually interesting to know because I'm not sure too many reached that point, even with the amount of the pit stops tonight. But in turn, the momentum's absolutely been looking very solid here. 2 consecutive wins, both with the qualifying. Now that you've had the chance to set qualify up, you're now with the conversation like for the title fight because of everything shuffling about. What's kind of the mindset now as we close up in the late stages now with the mile and a half becoming a major focal part the rest of the way outside of Iowa and North Wilkesboro?
Yeah, just gonna keep riding the wave, and it's a good time to get hot. So I think just gonna put a little bit extra time for practice and try to come out here and not make mistakes. I think as long as I stay out of my own way, good things will happen. So.
Anything else you'd like to add before we let you get back to, I guess, the movie party?
No, just thanks to the league, thanks to Kailu Glass for sponsoring the league and paying for you guys. You guys do a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Thomas. That's Thomas Wolf coming away with the win tonight. Like to thank him and the rest of the top 3 for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on Grid Vision. Brian, your final thoughts on how tonight played out. Not the finish we were expecting, obviously, under yellow, but strategy seemed to prevail, at least for what it looked like here.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think Wolf had one of the fastest cars out here tonight, 1-2 in a row. So I think he's easily becoming one of the favorites here. I think it was a good race, very clean compared to other Martinsville races. You know, and these guys definitely they put on a good show for sure. We saw some drama, we saw some 3 wide, we saw strategy, and we saw a little bit of everything. Pretty good Martinsville race. I can't wait to see what Kentucky looks like.
See what happens next time out. Speaking of next time, when it comes to Grid Vision, let's take a look at what's coming around the docket. Tomorrow night, it's Grid Vision Superspeedways, where we race in a pack. The racing action takes place from Daytona, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, here on Grid Vision. Then on Thursday, it's SSRL Truck Series competition. It's at Kentucky as well at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Then on Friday, from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, it's the La Corna Seca Be sure to tune in for the special event, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And on Sunday, the Global Racing League competes at Phoenix in the afternoon at 12:30 p.m. Then at Kentucky, it's RGR once more at 9 p.m. Eastern here on Grid Vision. And on that note, I'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's action in what was a busy one here for the Paperclip. Co-broadcaster Brian Britt, for our producer Austin Darbyshire, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening. You've been watching the Real Good Racing League and its Cup Series, and it's chased the Kiowa Glass Cup from the Paperclip, Martinsville Speedway on iRacing. Good night from Virginia.